Today we're going to be building some offcut storage out of a single piece of plywood. I started by ripping the plywood into 2-foot halves. This first half is going to make up the back, bottom, and front of the storage. I want my final height to be 3.5 feet, so I'm measuring the back panel first. I only have a job site table saw and I don't have an outfeed table, so cutting this on the miter saw was a bit easier for me to do. Here I'm marking out the base panel, and I'm using 1/2-inch plywood all around, so I've added an inch to account for the wall thickness of the sides. The front panel was only 18 inches, so I could do that one on the table saw. For the remaining 2 sides, I could get those out of the other half of the piece of plywood. Each side panel is 3.5 feet long, so that's plenty of material to work with out of this one bit. Now is a good time to talk about the plywood. I got it from Lowe's. It was like $28. I could have gotten better plywood, but this is just for offcuts, so I was just kind of trying to save budget. I wanted the sides to taper down from 3.5 feet down to 18 inches, so here I'm marking out the diagonals that I need to cut. And here is footage of me forgetting to record me cutting those diagonal cuts. And I got these casters from Lowe's for like $8 a piece. Next, I'm going to mark out the holes for the casters, and I'm going to offset them about 3 inches in from each of the corners. I'm going to be using pocket hole screws to be assembling the sides. Starting with the front panel, I'm going to be using pocket holes on the bottoms and the sides. 1/2-inch plywood had a lot of blowout, so if I were to do this again, I'd probably use 3/4. Moving on to the back panel, I'm going to be putting pocket holes on the bottom and the sides. Some of these pocket holes looked a little bit iffy, so I ended up adding more, but I didn't film that part. Finally, for the side panels, I just did pocket holes on the bottom. If you like what you see and you want to see more videos like this, definitely like and subscribe. It really helps me out. This is a new channel, so any little bit helps. And if there are any projects you'd like to see me do, just leave a comment. Now it comes time to screw in all the pocket holes. I started with one of the sides and the base. I tried to make this connection as square as possible to help me with lining up everything else in the future. Next, I attached the front panel, and I started with a pocket hole in the front and on the top to kind of hold it in place before sending the rest of the screws in. Next came the back panel. It has the most pocket holes, so I wanted easy access. Leaving the side panel off really helped with that. And I didn't want to do this one first because it was so long, I was worried it might split the screws right out of the wood. I added the casters next while I still had the side panel off and had easy access to the base panel. While I wrestle with these casters, you might notice that I inset the wall panels about 1/4 inch, and that was because I was worried that the screws from the pocket holes might split out the side of the base panel. After putting it off, I can finally add the side panel. I started by just getting a couple screws in, and then using the clamp, I could attach it on the top. before moving it down to the floor where I can have better access to those screws. And with that final panel attached, it looks like it's done. I tested out to make sure it spins and moves okay. It's mostly going to live up against the wall, but I want to be able to move it around the garage and have easy access to it, because I found that if something is too hard to use or takes a couple extra seconds to get out, then I probably won't end up using it. So having easy access and mobility is really big for me. In the end, it was a single piece of plywood and 4 casters, so it was a pretty simple project that took only a couple hours. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.